Have you ever heard someone refer to a politician or a political party as left, center, or right? But what exactly does it mean? Where does this political spectrum come from? In this video, I will explain the political spectrum. Stay tuned. In its simplest form, political ideologies can be divided into two broad categories, left and right. The origin of this naming convention can be traced back to the French Revolution. The story dates back to 1789 during the États Généraux of France, where a significant debate emerged regarding the king's absolute rights versus the supremacy of laws. To ensure better session management, the President of the Assembly requested the defenders of the king's absolute rights to sit on his right side, while the advocates of limited rights for the king were asked to sit on his left side. This separation was intended to facilitate a clear speaking order and a streamlined vote counting. The Assembly's size with more than 1,000 members made this arrangement crucial for efficient proceedings. This practice established a tradition where proponents of monarchy and defenders of the existing order would sit on the right side, while revolutionaries and advocates of change would sit on the left side. Even after the monarchy was abolished in France, the tradition of left and right sitting persisted. However, for about 100 years, the terms left and right were not commonly used to define political and party affiliations. It was not until 1870s that these labels were officially embraced in France, marking their formal introduction. Subsequently, they gradually spread to the rest of the world throughout the 20th century. Defining left and right in politics precisely can indeed be challenging. However, in a general and somewhat imprecise sense, as evident from its historical background, the political spectrum represents a continuum where the further left you move, the more you advocate for significant changes in the existing status quo. On the other hand, the further right you go, the more you become a defender of maintaining the current situation. As a result, terms like freedom, equality, liberalism, reform, and revolution are often associated with the left side of the spectrum. In contrast, words like hierarchical system, nationalism, tradition, and authority are associated with the right side. Different sections have acquired various names within this spectrum, such as far left tendencies, center left, center right, and finally far right. However, it's important to note that this categorization, like many other things in the 20th century, was heavily influenced by the Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States. Consequently, from the mid-20th century onwards, the left became synonymous with socialism and the right became synonymous with capitalism. Capitalism, in a very brief and general sense, is founded on the principle of profit. This economic system considers private property as one of the fundamental rights, and the entire capitalist framework is built upon this concept. The belief is that when individuals seek to maximize their profits, society as a whole will benefit more. In capitalism, some level of inequality and a certain form of hierarchical system are not only accepted but also seen as desirable. As a result, governments should minimize interference with private property, and ultimately competition determines the winners. On the other hand, socialism established by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels centers around justice and equality. In socialism, inequality is considered undesirable, and private property is believed to exacerbate and foster exploitation. Therefore, socialism rejects private ownership in favor of public ownership, which is more equitable. The implementation of public ownership in the real world is carried out by governments, which are supposed to represent the public. Thus, based on these general definitions of capitalism and socialism, capitalism advocates for minimal government intervention, while socialism advocates for more significant government involvement. For instance, capitalist policies may involve reducing taxes and deregulation, while socialist policies could include setting minimum wages and implementing universal healthcare. It's important to remember that these ideologies are complex and nuanced and deserving of in-depth exploration beyond this brief overview. However, the challenging of political division into left and right became more pronounced in the mid-20th century with the emergence of social and liberal movements advocating for greater freedom. This issue gained prominence because both Hitler, an extreme right figure with conservative and nationalist beliefs, and Stalin, an extreme left figure with collectivist and egalitarian beliefs, established authoritarian governments in practice. As a result, a proposal was put forward to create a new diagram representing political orientations. Unlike the traditional one-dimensional left-right diagram, this new diagram is two-dimensional. In this two-dimensional representation, the horizontal axis still captures the economic outlook corresponding to the socialist capitalist spectrum. However, a new dimension is introduced along the vertical axis, representing an individual's or party's social outlook. The higher up you go on this diagram, the more emphasis is placed on authoritarianism, while the lower you go, the more significance is attributed to the libertarianism and the value of freedom. This two-dimensional approach provides a more nuanced understanding of political ideologies, taking into account both economic and social perspectives. Presently, the most prevalent and widely recognized model for categorizing political orientations is the two-dimensional diagram. If you are interested in discovering where you stand on this diagram, you can visit the website Political Compass and answer their questions to determine your position on the chart. The website address will be provided in the description. To gain a better understanding of the different positions on this diagram, let's look at some examples of well-known figures and their possible placements. For instance, Adolf Hitler, the leader of Nazi Germany, would be positioned in this area. Similarly, Stalin, the leader of the Soviet Union, would also be placed here. Interestingly, if we were to determine the position of Karl Marx on this diagram, it would be somewhere around this area. Additionally, other notable individuals such as Obama, Trump, Gandhi, and Mandela can also be placed here to observe their respective positions. It is important to acknowledge that the definition of left and right in politics is not always clear-cut and straightforward. The concept of left and right can vary across different countries and periods, leading to a diversity of political positions. For instance, while it is possible to place parties and individuals on a single diagram in various countries, the origin of these placements differ. For example, in the United States, Republicans are considered right-wing, and Democrats are considered left-wing. In contrast, in Germany, the Christian Democratic Union is considered center-right, and the Social Democratic Party is considered center-left. If we were to place all these positions on the same two-dimensional diagram, we would find that Biden, representing the Democrats in the 2020 election, is closely positioned to Merkel, the former leader of the Christian Democratic Union in Germany. This implies that the left in the United States is approximately equivalent to the right in Germany. This discrepancy is even reflected in the naming of parties. For instance, in the United States, Democrats who are considered left-wing are referred to as liberals, whereas in Europe, liberal parties are generally considered right-wing. Multiple factors contribute to these differences. However, overall, historical and cultural influences, political structures, and especially the characteristics and beliefs of political leaders play a significant role in shaping the political landscape. Among all variations described, one combination remains relatively consistent across different contexts, and that is the term far-right. The far right is universally associated with specific defining characteristics, including authoritarianism, racism, xenophobia, extreme nationalism, and opposition to communism. Whenever the term far right is mentioned, the speaker is likely referring to these particular traits. In this video, we explored how the seating arrangement of two groups in French Assembly gave birth to the terms left and right in the political world and paved the way for defining political orientations. In short, the right wing became associated with defenders of the existing order, while the left wing advocated for change. Furthermore, in the 20th century, the right wing became synonymous with capitalism and the left wing became synonymous with socialism. Then we learned how the vertical axis was added to the division to indicate social outlook. Additionally, we saw how these definitions can vary in different places. But in a general sense, we can say that the left wing is characterized by advocating for government intervention to achieve justice and support for marginalized groups in society, while the right wing is characterized by advocating for minimal government intervention, conservatism, and nationalism. Thank you for watching this video. If you found the content informative, please like it and subscribe to my channel. Feel free to leave any questions or suggestions for future topics in the comments section. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.